Silkscreen has led to my own little revolution within painting. Silkscreen, which is a mesh of polyester extruded fibers, it's essentially fishing line. It opens up possibilities in terms of process where I can work from the back of the screen or I can work from the front of the screen, or both. For me, it has opened up endless possibilities, which is what I really love about painting. First things that really struck me as a kid was the synagogue that I grew up going to, Bethel, had these magnificent columns of stained glass windows. I used to, shall we say, ditch class, and I would sneak into the sanctuary and total darkness, and now you have backlit glass. It was stunning. It was escape. It was fantasy. They were just columns of little pieces of glass. In college, I'm now painting and loving it. Senior year, I fly to New York, spring break, my first time in the Museum of Modern Art, and my first time seeing any of the abstract expressionists in the flesh. That was a come to Jesus moment. That was like walking into the Vatican. What you don't get from a picture in a book is surface, and the surface of a painting tells the story. Experiencing those paintings, which is really what it was. It's not just seeing, but it's experiencing. It set me off on a journey to want to tell stories, or as I like to think of it, to create symphonies. It was the simple realization that color, line, and form can exalt, change, affect, elevate consciousness, and in profound ways and permanently. February 2012, Jerry Saltz puts a blurb out on his Facebook page. If anybody can fake a Richter, I'll pay $155, but do a studio visit. So I read that and thought, I have no interest in trying to copy Gerhard Richter, but I have a shit ton of interest in trying to get Jerry Saltz to my studio. I was pretty much broke, married, 4-year-old kid, my ex-wife constantly saying to me, when are you gonna quit your hobby and get a real job? First challenge was, I don't know how Richter makes his paintings. I know he uses squeegees. I've been using squeegees for 25 years, but I don't know specifically how he does his work. By sheer dumb luck, a documentary comes out 3 weeks later, Gerhard Richter painting. To the rest of the world, it's a fascinating expose into Richter's practice. To me, it was 80% of a how-to. Back into the studio 3 weeks later, I have something that I think is pretty strong. I sent it to Jerry. I'm sure Jerry has never heard my name previously in his life. A dialogue starts between us. 2.5 months later, Jerry rolls up. He's in my studio about 2.5 hours. At the end of it, he says, Stanley, I'm so impressed by what you've done. I'd like to pitch my editors to do a story on you. And I was like, are you kidding me? He said, it might make you a novelty. I said, Jerry, I don't give a shit what it makes me. Please, you do whatever you want. Fast forward now, 2012, December 3rd, 4-page article in New York Magazine, How to Fake a Richter. The article set off a firestorm where now every Tom, Dick, and Harry wanted one of these Richter-esque paintings, because if you can buy it for 20 grand and sell it for 100, I want as many as I can get. Jerry, when he said in my studio, this might make you a novelty, I didn't understand what he meant. But it became pretty clear within a year or so exactly what he meant. And it was really because of the title of the article, How to Fake a Richter. This was not about Stanley Casselman's talent and prowess with a squeegee. This is about Jerry collecting fakes. My pieces were saleable all day long, But that's never been what I've wanted. Yes, I want to sell paintings. My delusional dream within being an artist goes back to the first time I was in MoMA, sitting in front of the abstract expressionist, that I want to be compared and contrasted to the greats who've ever painted. It started to become clear that through How to Fake a Richter, I was not moving in a direction that was going to get me onto those walls. What's invaluable about that whole exercise is that Jerry gave me an audience. But the real question is, have I achieved escape velocity from the novelty of How to Fake a Richter?
And what colors are these? What is that
So,
greenish thing?
That is a kind of a khaki army green with a little bit of black in it. And this one is denser pigment-wise than either of these.
Cool. I mean, that's already kind of groovy.
Yeah.
Okay. So I take it you're kind of aware about the way that you're actually putting it in there, mixing the colors, and not without mixing them.
As much as this is what it looks like here,
Yeah.
trust me, in there, you have no frickin' idea.
So at the tail end of it, it's still seat of your pants.
Yeah, and I want it that way.
What's important about witnessing this process specifically is to see in real time the random nature of where those marks get deposited. It's fully and completely random.
Groovy. Dude, it looks like wood. So cool.
Okay, yeah. This is what becomes the kind of spice underneath.
So this is a background? No.
So that's the background.
It is.
Yeah. So next I'm going to put a watery layer of clear medium, and that is going to help the white want to slide across the surface.
There's nurture, me mixing up paint of certain density, me putting paint down in certain locations, but where those marks end up, that's nature. And it is an event about a moment in time that is not recreatable by me or anyone else.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is probably the bottom of the painting.
Yeah, obviously.
Well, no, not sometimes.
Sometimes it flips.
They really, work in two directions.
Some of the best things that have ever happened in my work has always been because Mother Nature made it. Beautiful. It's really beautiful, man. Look at that. Jeez. The process itself is almost like nature itself, right? I mean, do you actually think that somebody's curating where the snow flakes are going to fall?
Or how they're shaped.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, right, in Spanish we say that things fall where donde Dios manda, which is wherever God says that they should be. I love it.
Thank you, Duke.
Well, the experience of the process is such joy, it seems, because everything I've watched and seen you do, and you get the sensation of it in the paintings themselves, is that there's just a joy in the process and a mystery in the process, and a result which is also an accident, say, or a surprise. And so all of those things are augmenting themselves and layering themselves one on top of the other. I suppose that you're hunting for the quality and the power of that singular experience.
Yeah. No, I think well said. Well said.
In my mind's eye, I'm seeing a blank canvas, in this case a blank silk screen. I want to see what it becomes.
For an art historian, and not just David, it's probably the exception to be able to witness process, especially process start to finish.
It's not Jackson Pollock, it's Stanley Casselman, but Pollock paints on the ground too. And I think once Pollock started that in 1947, it was a revolution. And I think in a way you get a more perspectival view. It's like an aerial photograph.
We had a long talk the other day about the back of a painting because it tells the truth of the tale of how it was made.
In London, Stanley, he explained to me that his paintings of that time, to my astonishment, were actually painted from the verso. I wish I could do this with every painter, and also not just living painters, but painters from the past. Can you imagine if you could just do a video now of Leonardo in action, or Rembrandt in action? Do you feel you control things enough so far?
So in this process, what I like about it is that the mark making is out of control. As you saw with your eyes, where these marks fell is the physics and chemistry of that moment, unrecreatable.
Are you enjoying doing this as much as I'm enjoying watching it?
Oh, absolutely. Each time it's a mystery. Listen, it's a lot more fun when they're exciting.
Well, look, I'll bring in a forbidden name. Gerhard Richter.
I don't ever feel as though a painting is a failure as long as I've learned something from the creation of it. I painted this way for 4 years. I wasn't interested in trying to copy Richter. I was interested in reinventing Richter through my consciousness, through my soul. They can study my process upside down and backwards, and this is a film about process, because you can't get here without process. But ultimately, to me, all that matters is, does that speak to me?
If I have to coin a word, a neologism, I've got it. Hyper-Baroque. The Baroque goes into the second information age and comes out as a visuality like this.
If it doesn't sing, if it is not magnificent on some level, the world doesn't need it.
Prior to the modern age, originality as such was frowned upon. The whole question was, can you paint or draw as well as Leonardo? And so the real criterion for artistic excellence, it wasn't originality. Originality is a cult of the avant-garde. It's the exact opposite. It's the ability to be as skillful at imitation of a master. That is a measure of quality.
What brings me back is this sense of wonderment. Sitting in Bethel, looking at those stained glass windows, it was that. And now it's kind of full circle where I'm creating wonderment.
Oh,
Very close. Little guy. Oh, took out the cameraman.
well, have a go. Have one go. I mean, it's your studio, so you should know where.
Oh.
Whoa, way out of line.
All right, fire it in there.
I'm falling short. It's to do with the...
Yes! And fam sinks it.